that by breaking monopoly, in Israel, most of the monopolies are controlled by the government. And by breaking most of these monopolies and creating competition and ending bureaucracy, this is our way to make a better economy, a live economy that at the end of the day will reduce the prices for consumers. And while everybody else are busy with arguing where every fund needs to go, he's the only one that actually talk how we make that tree grow, this economy grow. This is the main issue where the Likud comes with the economy. We've been at every place that we evacuated. We've been told that, just give up that land up in the north, give it back to Lebanon, and they'll be quiet. There won't be any more soldier of Hezbollah. And what happened when we cleared it was we got the second Lebanon war. They've said, cleared Gaza. Once you cleared it, there'll be peace. There won't be anyone to fight there. We cleared it, and everything that we got from there was rockets. And so we understand that if we do clear Yehuda and Shomron, and we clear that area, what will happen is that we will get missiles here on Kfar Saba and Ra'anana. We do believe that this state has to stay the only Jewish state in the world. This is the home of the Jews, and it has to stay this way.
We 100% support a Jewish nation-state law in Yesh Atid. It should be in constitutional law. The only thing we rejected was the version of the law that the Prime Minister chose to bring to the Knesset, which was the most extreme version from Chaver Knesset Zev Elkin, where in pretty much the first sentence, it downgraded the Arabs of Israel to second-class citizens, and that's what we rejected. No one is against declaring Israel as a strong Jewish state. We were against that version.
Do we actually understand what the Prime Minister even wants when it comes to welfare? Because I'm all for free market. As you heard, I'm an industrialist and I've been in the business sector for many, many years. I'm someone who kind of does or tries to do everything, and I'm telling you, it just doesn't make sense. There is no economy here with compassion. No free market with compassion. The Prime Minister just totally gave up on compassion. The whole middle class just faded out. Unlike Sharin, I don't think that Netanyahu was a great Minister of Treasure. Professor Trachtenberg, who's number 11 on our list, has presented a very, very impressive scheme of how to change, how to deviate this enormous sheep called Israel into the right direction in every respect. The other leg stands firmly on the question of what type of country do we actually want to be? Because I'm starting to think that Netanyahu actually wants a binational state. There's no other explanation to the way that he is running or not running, depends on the day, current situation here. Not doing anything. Stagnation is really the worst thing. We have countries around here that for the first time in the history, the new history of this area, of this region, are fighting the same foe, the same enemy as we are, terror. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Jordan, countries, actual countries. No one can claim otherwise. And where is the partnership?
First of all, almost every coalition agreement that the Labor has signed in the past year has strengthened the committee workers in many, many ways. So to talk about free market, this is not the way that the Labor has gone through many past years. I really doubt if they will do it this time. Second of all, when they talk about Zionism, you cannot deny the people on your list. If we take Yossi Yona, who has said that the Nakba should be joined with the Independence Day of Israel. If we take Merav Michaeli, that has said mothers shouldn't send their children into the military. I'm sorry, this is not Zionist. Zohir Baalul was saying that his Palestinian identity is stronger than his Israeli identity. This is not a Zionist person. Stav Shafir, who said that the Israeli anthem is racist. This is not Zionism. So, and even if you were, at least say it before, because the Arab people, they're saying something else. It's not the Zionist camp.
making progress on religion state, continuing we don't turn the clock back on the Haredi issues, that we keep going to education reform, that we get the social budget passed, and that we don't go back to a bloated, oversized government which wastes all of our money. If these issues are concerns to you, you should vote for Yesh Atid.
But none of this is a crime. And the problem with the media in Israel is that it executes anyone that there's even a rumor about him. To remind you, even prime ministers from the Avodah, from other parties, has been persecuted, has been charged, and even gone to jail.
I'm not calling him a criminal. I have an amount of disregard and disrespect for people who run their house in that way. In this case, this is a prime minister. So 20,000 shekels for a breakfast and 50,000 shekels for dinner that day, which makes 70,000 shekels for food on the same day, I would say they're at least completely blindsided by their position to the way that Israelis actually live here.
The reason why you haven't heard Yair Lapid making a lot of noise about this issue is because we're actually almost embarrassed that the campaign in Israel has come down to this, and we're not talking about the core issues that we're talking about. Yair Lapid, when he offered me to run for Knesset 2.5 years ago, he said to me, Dov, you don't know this, but you just passed 2 extensive background checks. Because I wanted to make sure that every single person on this list doesn't even have a hint of any kind of self-serving or corruption in their past, because we're going to show the Israeli people that it's possible to govern without any of these scandals, without any of these issues, so we can focus on the issues of the day and not all this outside noise and not cheat people out of their money. And I want to end with one last point. February 1st, I'm embarrassed to say this to all of you, I, as a member of Knesset, got a raise. We're in the middle of a campaign and we got a raise. People are in poverty and we got a raise. We spent the last 6-7 months, before there were elections on the horizon, going around to every single party and saying, join us, and saying no. Let's all together show the Israeli people we are not taking a raise. We make a good living, thank God, we're fine. We don't need a raise while we're dealing with all these social economic issues. And they all said no. We have to show ourselves. We have to be the ones who show clean living, no corruption whatsoever, and that's what we want to stand for. And let's get back to talking the real issues in this election campaign and not all this other noise.
To tell us in 2 minutes exactly what your party envisions for the future of the Palestinians after the new government is formed. Is your party in favor of a Palestinian state, even in this very turbulent and unstable regional environment? And what is it, what steps will your party take in order to make this vision a reality? So let's start with Ayelet this time. Okay.
I would say that it's very, very tough to see how we achieve peace. And I would quote Yitzhak Herzog, who said yesterday, I don't think peace is waiting around the corner, but it will be my duty as Prime Minister to never cease attempting to reach it.
We don't believe that it's possible to achieve peace with the Palestinians, but we do believe that it's in Israel's best interest to be working very hard to separate from the Palestinians. I always ask my friends on the right in the Knesset, I say, you speak with a lot of bravado. What are you going to do the morning that the Palestinians wake up and they say that instead of asking for a state, they're going to ask to be citizens of Israel? They live within our country, within our borders. What are you going to do then? And at that point, we're in real trouble as a country that wants to be a strong Jewish and democratic state. The way we believe that we have to work towards this and attempt to make this happen is through a regional solution. Moderate Arab states such as Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, even the Gulf states, are more afraid of ISIS than we are. And they've turned to us for help. We need to finesse that and use that and work together with them to try to bring the Palestinian issue into that regional solution as we fight against fundamentalist Islam. Does that mean that we will succeed? I don't know. I don't know if it could happen. But it is in Israel's best interest to be sincerely exploring this. Let me just explain that word sincerely. I've been meetings with members of parliament around the world, and they've said to me, the worst thing for Israel is that the Prime Minister of Israel is saying one thing, but all of us know that he's not even sincere in possibly trying to do it. I've been in meetings with Yair Lapid, with heads of state all around the world, where he's presented Israel's case and this plan as well. They see that he's sincere. All of a sudden, the public opinion shifts to Israel's side, and now the onus is on the Palestinians. We are demanding that the IDF be in charge of any security arrangements when it comes time towards separating from the Palestinians. That's the only way we'll do so. And we believe that if we are proactive and we say this is what we want to do, this is how we'll do it, and show our sincerity, then at that point it is possible to move towards a deal, or the onus will be on the Palestinians or the blame because they haven't been willing to do so. But
first of all, to make it clear from what I've heard from your other party members, that Jerusalem is as well negotiable.
From Yesh Atid?
From Yesh Atid, that you do not you do not negotiate before you sit down to the table, but eventually Jerusalem is a negotiable thing as well. That's what I heard from Woodcut one a few days ago. Anyway, when Benjamin Netanyahu says that his hand is reaching out for peace for whoever that wants to reach it, when he says there's no partner to sit down and talk to, he's meaning, I'll explain why we don't have a partner. Well, first of all, there hasn't been any elections in the Palestinian Authority for years. It means that they don't have a mandate to make an agreement in the name of the Palestinians. In other polls as well, they show that in the Palestinians, if there are elections now in the Palestinian territories in Yehuda v'Shomron, the Hamas will take over. It means that if we sign an agreement with them today, you don't know who's the one that's going to have to keep this agreement in a year or 2 years' time, because there hasn't been any democratic elections in there. Second thing is, you cannot, the offers to the Palestinian people, even with dividing Jerusalem and giving up a lot of land, was there a long time ago. One of the problems is that Abu Mazen does not want to negotiate. He's got a plan in his head and he's not willing to negotiate. Well, Netanyahu thinks first thing about the security of the Israelis, and he will not jeopardize the security of us. We understand that any land that we've cleared before has been taken over by terrorists. And even now with that threat of Daesh from the Middle East, if we do give up into giving land, and even the area of Bikat Yarden, they can just come even through Jordan, or, there's different scenarios that can happen that can really risk the state of Israel. What Benjamin Netanyahu is aiming to is a Haskel, one-sided settlement that first of all will look after the security of the citizens of Israel.
I just wanted to ask, if I could, just clarification, it's the first time I ever heard the Likud talking about doing something unilateral. I think it's important for all of us to get more understanding of that. It's the first time I've heard this. If we can hear, again, you're the moderator, Leah, I'm sorry, but what does that mean in terms of unilateral? The last unilateral action the Likud took was the Hitnakud, which brought us all the issues you're talking about from Gaza.
It wasn't the Likud, first of all.
It wasn't the Likud.
It was a lot of I actually informed.
I understand that, but it was.
I know, but I sat next to Zev Elkin yesterday, last night, and someone in Slomiansky told him, wait a minute, weren't you a part of the Hitnakud? So, because he was part of Kadima. So, truth be told, history needs to be kept from all parts.
But just, I think it'd be important to hear what does the unilateral step mean? What are we pulling out? What are we doing to establish a unilateral deal with the Palestinians? It's interesting.
Okay. Look, the plan is with Bibi Netanyahu. We do not know many details, but as the Palestinians, as the Palestinians are going now in order to request the authority to have recognition, this is breaking the Oslo Agreement. When they're breaking the Oslo Agreement and going towards a unilateral one-sided action, this gives us the legitimacy to go towards the one-sided actions as well. And probably this is the only solution that we see in the future.
I also want a clarification, Sharin, if I may, before Ayelet responds. Is this now the official Likud position that they are no longer in favor of an independent Palestinian state?
Sorry?
That they are no longer in favor of an independent Palestinian state?
This will include independency. It means to separate from the Palestinians. It doesn't mean that Israel is the one that's going to govern it. We don't have too much details on this plan, but this is our aim. This is what we're going to.
Without with Israeli withdrawal, you're saying?
Not a complete withdrawal. Some section will, some section not. There will be some areas that will be complete autonomy to the Palestinians.
Autonomy.
Look, I can't give you specific details. We don't know exactly what is happening right now. This is the goals of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is what he's reaching towards. So I don't know the details exactly. What is in, what is out, what's going to happen, how the Palestinians. I can't give you these details.
I just wanted to make a few brief comments. First of all, I really do believe that if the Israeli press was in this room, there would be headlines all over the newspapers tomorrow about this new Likud plan, about unilateral actions, which I just haven't heard in any of the panels or in the Knesset or anywhere. So this is very interesting development, and we certainly need to hear more about it. The other 2 points I wanted to make is, first of all, that our plan, it's just important for everybody to understand, has been developed by a member of our party, a minister, ex-minister from our party, Yaakov Perry, who was the former head of the Shabak, the Israel Internal Security Agency, someone who dedicated his life to Israel's security, understands the ins and outs of all the various issues, and he's the one who put together this plan which puts Israel's security as the primary focus, and then we start from there and work towards separating from the Palestinians. The last point I want to make, which is critical in all of this, and we've learned this over the last few months and year, is with everything that's going on, we still have significant terrorism, even in Israel itself. And that 2015 budget that I talked about, with how to pay for it, and this booklet over here, has an increase of 1 billion shekel towards internal security to get more than 1,000 more police officers into the streets. Because we know that as you see armed officers throughout the streets of Israel, that is also a big deterrent. So we do have to deal with the external issues, but we have internal security as well, and that's a major part of our focus in terms of this budget, which we very much want to get past.
Just a small comment. I would like to have you pay attention to something very interesting. When all our generals are out of their uniform, or 99% of them, where do they usually choose to go if they go into politics? They usually go to the center left. And even if they don't go to the center left, all of them are interviewed saying that we need to separate from the Palestinians. So I would say that says something.